Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to continue diving into Vecna, Eve of Ruin. We are in the second section of we're continuing talking about Chapter 2, and at this point, the player characters have been quested, right? They've been quested by Mordenkainen, Tasha, and Illustriel, the Wizards 3, and they have and at this point, of course, like any D&D canon hardback, your player characters can go off the rails at any time, right? Like it could go in different directions, and that's totally okay. That's what the Dungeon Master is for, is to go into different directions. But let's talk about the structure of Chapter 2. So not only is this the structure of Chapter 2, this is now setting, what we're going to talk about right now is setting a structure for the next 7 chapters, right? And so essentially, and it is pretty interesting in that Vecna is getting into place the ritual of remaking. He is essentially working to make sure that he is able to do this big ritual. It will remake the entire multiverse to his benefit, and his benefit only. Extremely greedy, extremely evil, right? That's Vecna evil, right? Like, so basically, at this point, the player characters are accepting this commission to get the Rod of 7 Parts. So let's talk about the Rod of 7 Parts. The Rod of 7 Parts is part number 1. Is there? And the first part is found in, and let's track where the players are. They're in Toril, okay? They're on, which is the world itself, the planet itself, okay? They're in Faerun, which is a collection. It's not one continent. Faerun is an expanse, and it has multiple land masses in it. Karator's in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? But where we're talking about is the main area, Faerun, right? And that's where you're going to find, the core 3 classic Forgotten Realms cities, which is Waterdeep, and actually from the most south to the highest north, you're going to get, and these are all on the Sword Coast, right? You're going to get Baldur's Gate, then you hit Waterdeep, then you hit Neverwinter at the high. So Baldur's Gate is on the low south, in the middle is Waterdeep, and then finally it's Neverwinter, and every single one of them are on the Sword Coast, right? Now, where the characters are right now is Menzoberranzan, and Underdark, and then Menzoberranzan, and then the path between Menzoberranzan and Blingdenstone, okay? So they're currently in the Underdark. So the Underdark is this vast expanse, right, in Faerun that is all underground. The sun never hits, and this is Lolth's primary center of power, right? And the player characters are going to Webb's Edge, which is a Lolth agent safe house, right? And they will find the first piece of the Rod of 7 Pieces, which is needed to defeat Vecna. And by the way, like the game, like the D&D canon hardback, Vecna Eve of Ruin kind of plays around with the idea that the Rod of 7 Parts is not going to help beat Vecna. That's absurd. You should absolutely make it critical to defeating Vecna. And the reason why is, if this thing is powerful enough to help get Miska the Spider Wolf, it's absolutely powerful enough who's supposed to be able to help cast defeat Vecna. It's absolutely going to be helpful to defeat Vecna, right? Like, do not even think about sending your player characters on a 7-part quest to get an object that is not going to help with the main story. Like, that's abominably a bad idea, right? So they're going after this Rod of 7 Parts, and the first part is found in this Lolth safe house called Webb's Edge, right? And there they will encounter they'll encounter a spider dragon, and they'll encounter 2 Lolth agents, right, who are Makubli and Torknor. And Torknor is a Durger, And I think was Makubli, is he a tiefling or an orc? It was a little, I saw the art, but like, but Makubli is, is very devoted to Lolth. And here we also realize, Vecna has allies, and Lolth is an evil queen for the Drow, right? And the Drow serve her, but many people serve her, and she has followers far beyond the Drow, right? Also, hashtag not all Drow are Lolth followers. Like that was recently a thing. Hashtag not all Drow, so okay. Yeah, so, and they have taken steps to make sure that everybody understands the Drow are not fundamentally evil. The Drow have a distinct number of people within the Drow. They have a distinct number of Drow within the they have a distinct number of Drow individuals within the Drow community who worship Lolth, but not all Drow worship Lolth, right? I think it is a majority though. Like, so it's a whole discussion, right? So, but Lolth is now, is here, and she is being named, and she is being shown as powerful, right? And she's being positioned so that at the end, when this ritual of remaking goes down, the player characters are understanding there's just a huge array of extremely powerful bad guys that are interacting with Vecna, either trying to stop him or aiding him in this ritual of remaking, and expecting that they will get taken care of in the ritual remaking, right? So very, very interesting. And so the player characters go there, and at this point, they are not going to encounter Lolth at any point here. So they simply need to defeat Lolth's agents. And this is the first segment. And there is a spider dragon, and there's a few more obstacles, but it's a well-constructed quest that I think is very good. And the player characters are going to get, and about 90% chance player characters are going to be able to defeat Lolth's agents and get the first part of the Rod of Seven Pieces, which is extremely important and extremely helpful to understand and to know, right? The other thing that really kind of blew me away is what a great job this does of setting up this structure where the Rod of Seven Pieces is 7 different quests in 7 different areas with 7 different with 7 different major bad guys, right? And I thought that was really fascinating and is extremely a good structure. And the other thing that hit me is I'm like, oh, wait a second, you wouldn't have to you could pull out any of the adventures are truly modular in that you could pull out any of them and have the player characters going to get a different magic item, or going to get a non-player character, or going to find a piece of information, and you could simply put them within these structures, and it works. Like, it's 7 little mini adventures. You could pull these apart and use these in many, many different ways, right? So there's an incredible amount of utility for any dungeon master worth their salt who knows what they're doing. I'm extremely impressed with what's being done in Vecna Eve of Ruin. There's some things I would have definitely written a bit different, but I'm extremely excited about getting this map of all the realms that matter, all the bad guys that matter, and really a cementing of these are the things that are really coming out of the 2014 era, solid, cemented, right? Bolstered, bulwarks of the realms that matter now, right? Thank you for letting me share my ideas with you on Vecna Eve of Ruin. That is a finish on Chapter 2, right? Everything I wanted to say about Chapter 2. And thank you for exploring this incredible D&D canon hardback with me. Every single word you just heard is my opinion on what's the coolest things in D&D Vecna Eve of Ruin Chapter 2. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion on the coolest things in Vecna Eve of Ruin Chapter 2, or anywhere within Vecna Eve of Ruin. Please consider subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.